What's up everyone, Sam and Dan here, back with another Guitar Talk video, and we have what will be a controversial one today because we've got a USA PRS that's been fiddled and modified and had bits done and changed, and it's lived a life.
Yes.
It's got some amazing little cheeky bits that you guys will see on the back shortly, and it's by the legend that is Mark Tremonti, who, you know, I know Dan has been a fan of for many years, so this is a very cool one. PRS and Mark Tremonti rolled into one. Let's do this, Dan. Kick us off with where this guitar even started. When did you get it?
So I got into playing guitar when I went to Ozfest, it was like 2001, 2002, I think, when I saw Zakk Wylde playing on stage, and like my friend said when he was playing with Ozzy, it was like this massive crowd, and I was just like in this bubble, like everyone around me moshing it, and I'm just like, and I've always said Zakk Wylde taught me that ultra heavy guitars are awesome. And then a couple of years later, I saw Alter Bridge, and Mark Tremonti taught me that ultra heavy guitars could be super melodic and, quite frankly, beautiful sounding. And it just massively shaped my mindset on when I played really heavy rock music, to remember that it can be heavy and pretty at the same time. And ever since then, I always said to myself, if I ever got a PRS, I have to get a Tremonti because they just sound so awesome. I was working in the guitar shop that I worked in, and this guy came in, little guy with a beard, came in and said, "Hey, I've got a Tremonti, it needs some work doing to it. Can you set it up?" And off he went, and I cheekily said to G, "Once you've set that guitar up, can you, before you phone the customer, just like let me have 15 minutes of it in the room just to see if I like it?" And I plugged it in for 15 minutes, and I absolutely loved it. And I said to G, I was like, one day that guitar is going to be mine. And I asked him, and he was like, "Nope, guitar means everything to me. It's my main guitar for my cover band that I'm in. I'm never getting rid of it." Yeah.
We all say that.
Yeah.
We've all said that about many guitars.
That. And a couple years later, I think around 2015, I went to a local festival, Godney Gathering.
Yeah.
His band were playing, and I sat taking a few photos on my camera for him, and I turned around to my partner and I said, "See that guitar that he's playing?" She was like, "Yeah." I was like, "That guitar one day is going to be mine."
He's just looking after it for you, just a custodian.
Yeah. And then lo and behold, a year later, his cover band ended, and he was like, "Hey, I'm joining a Pink Floyd tribute band.
Probably not the best guitar.
Would you be interested in my Tremonti?" And I said, "Look, I can't really afford it, but I've got this this green P22 PRS that had piezo and everything on it as well." And he said, "Yeah, I saw you playing it the other night." And I said, "Look, I'm probably going to regret this, but would you be interested in the trade?" And he just said, yeah, I'll trade you for it." So we swapped, and finally the prophecy came true, and it was mine.
Yeah, nice.
And then funnily enough, about 4 or 5 months later, he messaged me and said, "Not doing the Pink Floyd tribute thing anymore. Don't suppose you want to swap back?" And I said, "Nope. But I'll take the PRS P22."
Yeah.
And then I sold it to you guys for one of the very early Guitar Gear giveaway competitions.
It was.
And this has been mine ever since.
So I think the most interesting part of this for most people watching is going to be any modifications and stuff that's changed on it, because most people just don't see core line PRSs have much, you know, much done to them,
Yeah.
let alone marks and dings and stripped bits and whatever. So what's going on this then? What's changed or what's been done?
So, I love the guitar, I love the neck. It's got a wide, thin neck, but one thing that I don't get on with massively is gloss necks, and it had a gloss neck. So I did only what I would do, and I stripped the neck.
Classic.
Back down to bare mahogany.
And it's really nice mahogany. It's so dark.
Yeah, and then
It almost looks like rosewood.
Then I oiled it, and then finished it off with gunstock oil to seal it, and it's just ultra smooth, rough and satin, and just instantly feels great to me. So I've had that done to it. The nature of the bands that I play in, I'm quite often having to go like standard tuning, drop D. I think there's one song we do which is double drop D. And again, I love this guitar. This is the perfect single cut for me. I've said before, I don't get on with Les Pauls, but this guitar is just the perfect neck profile and everything. But they've got a floating trem on them, so if you do drop D, all the other guitar strings go sharp, and then you spend like 10 minutes trying to rebalance the trem and everything, and it's a nightmare. It just means that if I wanted to play this for a whole gig, I couldn't, because it's just too much of a nightmare. So it now has in the back of it a Tremel No installed, so it is now hardtail.
Locked off.
Nice. But it's done in a way it's temporary, so I can remove that if I want to. Toyed with the idea of taking the pickups out, but I never did. The final, I guess you could say, modification to it is I was very lucky through a charity competition that we did with Guitar Gear Giveaway.
Yeah, with Mark Tremonti himself.
Yeah, where we were sat upstairs one day, and Mark was doing a gig in London near Christmas.
It was his big band thing, right? Like
the Frank Sinatra, Frank Sinatra tribute. And I just looked over at Sam and just went, do you reckon I can pull off getting Mark Tremonti to sign a guitar and then we can do it for charity? Not this guitar, by the way. Like, we did actually
one of his SE models, Tremonti SEs.
And, you know, it was a bit of a long shot, and I literally just messaged the charity that he is involved with and said, hey, do you think if I bring a guitar along for Mark to sign and we do a competition for charity, here's our website, do you think you can make it happen? And they literally came back 5 minutes later and just went, yeah. So
yeah, sorted it all out.
I went to London, went to this Mark Tremonti show, got to go to the VIP thing and have a chat with Mark and meet Mark. And once he'd signed the charity guitar, I handed him the backplate from this and said, would you be able to do one more thing and sign this backplate for my Tremonti? And he said, yeah, where do you want me to sign it? I said, can you sign the inside of the plate? Because I don't want to rub it off with my belt or anything like that when I'm playing it. So he looked at both sides and he's like, right, this is the inside. Signed it and signed the outside of the plate. And I was just in shock that I'd actually done it. I always told Ollie when I bought this guitar off him that one day I will get it signed by Mark Tremonti. And I pulled it off. I did it. And yeah, I walked out of the O2 in London, out into the snow. It was snowing outside. And I looked down at the signature and just saw that my thumb was right in the middle of the signature. And you can see there my thumbprint is in Mark Tremonti's signature. And I was just like, I looked at G and I was just like, if I said to you 2 years ago that we're going to come to the O2 in London in the middle of a snowstorm to watch Mark Tremonti sing Frank Sinatra classics and Christmas songs and get my Tremonti signed by Mark Tremonti and get to meet him and hang out with him, like, you just wouldn't believe it. No. And it happened.
Is there one thing you may or may not be able to answer that I've always wondered is there a reason on the Tremonti models where there's an uncovered and a covered pickup, or is it just simply because that was his pickup choices and one came uncovered and one didn't?
I don't know if part of it is because of the look, but I know, like, theoretically, and it does kind of work. Bare Knuckle did a great video on it with Nolly of the difference between uncovered and covered pickups. That
right.
If you take the cover off of a pickup, no matter how minutely, you do get a bit more output, a bit more treble response,
okay.
a bit more. So with the kind of music that Mark plays, having like a bluesy, these are essentially like they're a PRS number 7 neck pickup.
Yeah.
With the very aggressive bridge. It just gives a very nice difference in tones between the two pickups.
Yeah, that's cool. And it makes perfect sense, obviously, because you've got a bit more mass there. You're obviously covering up the some of the bobbins. Like, so yeah, uncovering it will give you a bit more output and a bit more attack. And so yeah, that's awesome for like a bridge sound. Yeah.
And this thing has been with me through several bands. I used it in my old cover band Bullet Train, played it on stage at a few festivals and everything. Played it a few times out with our old band Square One on a couple of tracks where I played a bit of guitar. I've used it in my band now, Autumn Red. I've used it on recordings for some of the heavier rhythm stuff. And yeah, I would never part with this guitar because it's just, one, I've probably completely trashed the value of it with everything that I've done to it. But the fact that, like, I've really made it my own, it's the PRS that I always said I'd get, and I got it signed by Mark.
Yeah.
Like, this
it's
is
timeless as well. I think, like, with the charcoal finish, it's got a nice flame to it, but it's not like over the top in any way. It's just like, it's just really classy looking.
It depends. You get this in the right light and it just completely comes alive. It is ridiculous. Some lights you look at this in, you try and take a photo of it and it's just a black top. You just can't get any flame. You get it in the right light and this thing just pops with the craziest top that you've ever seen.
Nice. It's a beauty, man. It's cool. It's another one that I think it's probably one of the maybe 3 or 4 guitars in your collection that I would say, like, this one's never going anywhere.
Yeah. I'd have to double check, but I think as well, there is a very old 2008-ish video, this is a 2008 model, from World Guitars where my friend, who is now, by the way, in my band, so every now and again it's great to get this out and play it and just see him glaring at me across the stage. I wouldn't sell it back to him, and then 2, that I stripped the neck on it. But I believe there is a very old video at World Guitars floating around on the internet of them playing this guitar new and Rob Chapman playing it and doing a little review video on it.
Okay, cool.
So it's been in YouTube demo reviews when it first came out. It's been gigged heavily. It's been signed by Mark Tremonti. It's a guitar with some real history behind it.
Yeah, man. It's another story for the archives.
Yeah, but yeah.
Cool,
absolutely lovely. If you're after a PRS guitar and you don't like big, thick necks, then definitely check out the Tremontis where they've got the wide, thin neck profile.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. It's got nice access too. But
yeah.
Awesome. Well, listen, thank you all for tuning in. That is another Guitar Talk video. We are smashing through these. We've got some great guitars coming up as well. And if you haven't checked out any of the previous ones we've done of these, and this is just a nice way to pass, 10, 20 minutes listening to us chat about guitars, then go back and check the others out as well. We are getting quite a back catalogue of these now, which is awesome. And this is just another beautiful one from Dan's collection. So yeah, that kind of leaves us at the end of this one. Do make sure you like, subscribe, drop a comment below if you've got any questions or anything. And as always, make sure to head back for the next video. We'll see you then.
Catch you later.